Hey everyone, it's Zach with Palantir Research. This may be great news for shareholders that Palantir is cutting costs by doing another round of layoffs. It's not a massive amount of people, but every bit counts when you're just above GAAP profitability. But there's also a major risk for them cutting jobs at this specific location. So where are they planning to cut jobs? It's in London in the UK, so I know when we mention this, a lot of investors who have been hodling Palantir know there's a risk to the massive £360 million or possibly £480 million NHS FDP deal. Palantir plans to cut 75 jobs or 8% of its UK jobs. For context on the market for Palantir, they have around 900 employees in London. But maybe this is a sign they won or maybe lost the NHS FDP contract. We won't know until it's official, but it is a clue in some direction, we just don't know which. Now, I'm sure someone did some kind of risk assessment at Palantir considering how high profile the NHS FDP contract is, but let's catch investors up to the speed on the whole story and let me know your thoughts if you think the contract is actually at risk, maybe if they've actually lost the contract already and just didn't say anything, or maybe they've won the contract and haven't said anything. It's really just a guess. So for the NHS deal, and if Palantir wins a lot of this £480 million contract potentially, this is expected to be awarded later in 2023 in the fall. But I do want to warn you, it has been delayed many times due to political controversy, especially around privacy of the UK citizens' data, and to ensure a fair process is being there for whoever awards the contract. So to provide context to newer investors, the NHS is the National Health Service in the UK, which is basically their government-ran healthcare system that many of the UK citizens rely on for affordable healthcare. The contract that Palantir is vying for is for the FDP or Federated Data Platform. It is a major contract with lots of controversy around it because of first, Palantir is an American company, and this would be handling basically all the data of UK citizens, which is very personal because it's healthcare. And also the reputation of Palantir working with governments around the world, being backed by Peter Thiel. So of course, depending on your politics, that can be very bad or it can be very good. It just depends on the person. Obviously, I'm biased, but having a military-grade IL-6 level provider of processing your data sounds better than a hodgepodge solution, but I get it. Whenever there's a foreign entity handling very personal data, it's always going to bring up concerns. And for this deal, it's going to be a major catalyst in either direction for Palantir stock if they win or lose, because the contract is such a huge amount, right? For £360 million over 5 years, with that possible extension of £120 million for 2 more years. So in total, that is potentially £480 million over 7 years. But there is also some possibility this could be split up to ensure there's a UK product in the mix and just to make things more fair, right? Adding to the drama, there was actually a late dead-on-arrival bid from a consortium of UK health companies that ultimately gave up pretty fast because they missed the deadline first of all, but it's more likely their solution wouldn't have performed as strongly, and they're already at a disadvantage to Palantir since they haven't been working with the UK government. Palantir has already been in the NHS system first when helping with the pandemic at a £1 contract for legal purposes. Then won an official contract for £23 million over 2 years at the end of 2020, but they've ultimately expanded multiple times, assisting the NHS, and also got an additional extension of $11.5 million for only 6 months. So even though the time frame is smaller, it looks like they're getting more money for that amount of time compared to that previous contract I've mentioned. And Palantir has been the front runner, as there have been reports of NHS officials actually ordering NHS England to load up patient data regardless of what decisions being made so far. Also on the positive side, there have been some outputs of the results with Palantir being directly responsible and named, and also other general improvements that NHS England has actually provided without naming Palantir. But they do overlap with the general programs that they've been assisting with, so you can assume that Palantir at least had some effect or a partial effect on those improvements. If Palantir does win this officially, it would be a major catalyst not only for the revenue, but also the reputational and possible PR this could provide if other countries are interested in their own national health systems to improve. And this doesn't mean it has to be a healthcare system in a country, right? Of course, it's very related, but just anything so large, just like the NHS, it has a reputation of being able to cover the whole country, but there are a lot of issues with that, with long waiting times and patients having to wait so long to get an appointment just to figure out how sick they are. But yeah, if you're able to apply this to any function of your government, any large entity, of course, even corporations as well, this is going to be huge PR for Palantir if they were to win. And it'd be, very good because it'd be international revenue, and also keep putting them strongly in Europe, which is a market they want to stay strong, especially with governments that are aligned with the West. So let's hope this doesn't produce any roadblocks for Palantir after all the hurdles. They've already overcome so many of them, and it feels like they've gotten so close. But let me know your thoughts below if this will help or hurt Palantir, and I'll see you in the next video.